Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, darling, has gonna yagi. All right, let's start strong here. Let's go right into a video that Frank from our team put together on this whole Yola situation.
There's a class action lawsuit against this pickleball company for $5 million. Yola Gen 3 paddles were banned from tournament play 1 month after they launched. On May 15th, USA Pickleball, organization tasked with governing pickleball since 1984, removed all Yola Gen 3 paddles from their approved paddle list. Yola responds with an official statement claiming that the paddles they had sent in were the wrong ones due to an administrative error, and the paddles on the market right now are compliant with USAP standards. On June 4th, USA Pickleball releases their final statement about the banned paddles, stating that Yola did send in new paddles for testing, but those failed to meet approved equipment standards too. And many people online are asking for a refund. We've already seen some places like Lost Cap Sports Village already banning these paddles from rec or tournament play. On May 29th, the PPA Tour sent out an email that also banned Gen 3s from tournament play at the Texas Open, which was happening that weekend. According to this document we received by crime victim law firm, there's a class action lawsuit against Yola's parent company, Sports Squad Incorporated, spearheaded by Greg Mattis, seeking to recover damages incurred as the result of a deceptive and fraudulent scheme, and claiming that Yola developed, marketed, and sold pickleball paddles with the express warranty that these paddles were approved by USA Pickleball. But wait, Greg Mattis? How do I recognize that name? Greg Madison Company are allegedly looking to recover damages of $5 million. Yola responds on June 5th, stating that they are confident that the current Gen 3 paddles are materially and structurally the same as those approved by USAP in September 2023, and that they plan to dispute USA Pickleball's decision to remove these paddles from the list in their own legal proceedings. Also in their statement, Yola promises to offer full refunds for customers who purchased any Gen 3 paddles between April 16th and June 15th, 2024. But why should you care? Well, because these Gen 3s are some of the hottest selling paddles to date, and they're everywhere. Top pickleball pros such as Ben Johns and others use these paddles, and I'm sure you've seen them in your tournaments. Do you think the lawsuit is justified? We'll keep you updated as the drama unfolds.
What's going on?
A lot to take away there.
Still don't know who this Greg Mattis guy is.
Okay, so the whole Greg Mattis thing is like, so I received this email from this law firm, right? It's actually an intern at the law firm. It's just funny to me. And I'm like, thanks for the tip. Like, send it over. We'll take a look. So he sends it over. We look through it. And we see the name Greg Mattis. And someone on our team goes, I think I know Greg Mattis. Isn't he a founder of Phantom Pickleball? We look into it. I don't think there's any ownership, but like Phantom had posted a TikTok of this guy. And the caption is, our very own Greg Mattis. Right? So we kind of put two and two together. We were like, oh, so if Greg is affiliated with Phantom, he has every incentive to go after and take down a competitive brand.
Sure.
At least if, you get your tinfoil hat on. I think ultimately he's just kind of an ambassador of Phantom, and I think he's been using other paddles since, including Yola. But that's what that's what that was about.
Ah, interesting. Well, companies sue each other all the time, I feel like, on that type of stuff, or get somebody to sue somebody else.
But like, okay, so Tom at Yola goes and gets a law firm and does a class action lawsuit for Selkirk. That'd be like, I don't know if there's like a conflict of interest there, but like, if you're leading a class action suit against a competitor, it's a little odd.
Yeah,
I don't
probably
think that's
just
happening, by the way.
They probably just get somebody else to, like, somebody who's somewhat unaffiliated to actually go do it, and then they throw the money behind him on the lawyers and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's fair game. It's called Bezos. But so I respond to this intern. I go, doesn't Greg Mattis own a competing pickleball brand? And he goes, he doesn't own a competing pickleball brand. He uses the Yola Gen 3 and is a plaintiff. He's an avid pickleball player. And then I sent him the TikTok, and I go, this isn't him? And he's like, that's so funny. I'll ask Greg about Phantom now, blah, 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 blah.
Huh.
You guys don't know who your plaintiff is? But at this point, I was thinking, this guy owns Phantom, because that's what I had heard. It's not the case. But anyway.
Wild. Well, okay. Well, I just, like, this seems like, have there been other lawsuits in pickleball that have been this, like, big? I don't remember.
Not a class action.
Yeah.
And there's multiple too, right? So the one we received was from Florida. So people in Florida can get into this lawsuit, right? And then there was one going on simultaneously in California. And, theoretically, anywhere they sold a paddle, you could see other lawsuits pop up. which they'll have to deal with.
I wonder what like so maybe this is just me being naive and not really understanding this stuff. Like, I wonder what the objective is. It's got to be more than just getting their money back, right? Like getting your $280 back.
No, yeah, for the law firm, it's a money grab, right? They
Right.
look for stuff like this.
Okay, but what is Greg Mattis's objective here? Like, are they going to sue Yola for $10 million or something like that? Or what's the...
Yeah, I don't know. In the lawsuit, they're like,
Well, it says something we have written here is $5 million.
because if you read the lawsuit, it's like they estimate damages to be in excess of $5 million, right? So are they actually trying to get $5 million? Like, I don't think so. They're requesting refunds. Yola's already doing that.
Right.
And they also they put forth the idea that it was a like overt and fraudulent scheme. I don't think it was. Like they're the ones who went to USA Pickleball and were like, hey, whoops, we made an error, right? And then USA Pickleball subsequently delists them. What's weird about that, though, to me, is then we see them ban this rhombus paddle,
Right.
and this Vatic paddle. And it's like, okay, so what did Yola report to USA Pickleball that they did wrong? And was it something that made USA Pickleball realize, oh, we got to circle back with these other brands and see if they made the same error, whatever that is. And then we're going to delist those paddles, same as we did Yola.
Yeah.
We just still don't know.
Well, we called bullshit on the administrative error since day one, right? Like, and so the subsequent delisting of the rhombus, as well as what looks like the Vatic is going to happen. Did the Vatic officially happen? As of yesterday, it was just rumored. I don't know if this is officially.
No, I think the founder emailed, and I actually think he said something in Chris Olson's Discord too. I think that's a screenshot I saw.
So it's as good as banned. Like, it's going to be banned basically, regardless of whether it's been an official statement. So it seems like, I mean, they're just going after these paddles that have the Evo foam in them, right? The foam core paddles. So I mean, I don't know what that is, but the admin error thing was BS.
But we still have no idea what it is, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And
Leave us a comment. What is going on? What on earth is going on?
Yeah, comment your best conspiracy theories. That's really what I want to.
I like it. I am ready to believe any of them too. If it's good enough, I'm ready.
Yeah. So there's these class action suits, but then Yola says at the end of their statement, in forthcoming legal proceedings, we plan to dispute USAP's decision to remove Gen 3 paddles from the list and the process employed to do so in forthcoming legal proceedings. So we had already talked about this. It was rumored that Yola was going to go sue USA Pickleball for a crap load of money. And it seems like now they're saying, yes, we are. Yeah. Whether that lawsuit has been filed at this point, who knows?
Aren't those two things contradictory, though? Like, it seems like Yola shot themselves in the foot by admitting that they made regardless of whether it's true or not, they admitted out in public that they made an administrative error. That's kind of their guilt. Like, maybe they were just saying that to save face or try to save other paddles. I don't know. But, like, wouldn't that be the first thing that the USAP lawyers bring up? Hey, remember the statement that you guys made on April whatever, or June something?
Ultimately, I think these things come down to who has the best attorneys, right? So Yola knows they've got money in the bank. USAP is a nonprofit. They have the advantage in going to court, right? So why not fight it? And hopefully USAP reverses their decision. If not, they're going to try and sink USAP, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to get a ton of... I don't know if they're going to get a ton of money out of USAP, or if this is just like an FU.
Yeah.
Or like make our paddles legal again.
Yeah.
But
I think that's what it is. I think their hope is that USAP just says, okay.
Honestly,
sorry.
USAP has been walking a very, very fine line with these paddle companies for a long time, and I'm surprised that it's taken this long for somebody to sue them. Like, this was going to happen at some point or another.
I mean, there were other threats of this between certain paddle brands and certain pro organizations in the past, to the point where I got calls from founders saying, we're going to do this. We think this decision is BS. This is the first time we've ever seen it actually, go to this
Right.
length.
But there's been very high tensions between USAP and paddle companies for a long time.
And it's bad to have it right now when they have a competitor,
Right.
arising, trying to take their. This is the worst time to be pissing off paddle brands.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're going to create rules and regulations and abide by those, they have to stand by them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is to their disadvantage.
So
Bad timing. Terrible timing.
what's your prediction on what comes of this? Just this entire YOLA USAP deal. What happens on this?
I have no idea. I mean, I could see us like pretty much never hearing about this again, and everything gets handled behind closed doors. I could see USA Pickleball reversing the decision because financially they have to. They really don't have they can't afford these legal fees. They don't want to drag this out in court for forever. So I think it'll be probably like one of those two things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd have to imagine this probably gets settled somehow or another.
Yeah.
And then I think USAP ends up being the certification of amateur play. I think UPA, PPP, whatever the hell, that PPA and MLP. I think it's UPA or UPA is
UPA-A.
UPA-A. I think they regulate the pro game, and I think that new organizations are going to choose which organization's paddle standards they want to adhere to. So I think this is going to be a long-standing rift, and I think it was something that the sport had coming, right? Other sports have different regulations for different levels of play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about baseball and softball, like different bats, different different materials, even in MLB versus college versus softball versus all that stuff. Like, it was coming.
Yeah. The only thing, I guess, maybe going back to your other question, like, if these the reason these attorneys reached out to us is because they hoped we covered it, and then they get more people in and around the state of Florida to join the class action suit, right?
Yeah, what's our cut on that?
Yeah, so basically they're just, it's marketing. And if there's a bunch of these injury law firms, right? I can't remember the name, but it was like straight out of a Fox News commercial. But like, if these law firms all around the country say, we want to be leading this class action suit, and like YOLA's fighting this battle on 50 fronts, 10 fronts, that's going to be a financial strain for them. And in that case, maybe they're less inclined to go, fight this lengthy court battle with USA Pickleball and put resources behind it.
Yeah.
So
I'm somewhat surprised nobody's actually sued one of these paddle companies for losing an eye. Right? Like,
well, nobody's lost an eye.
I mean, you see in the forums every now and then, like somebody got hit in the face,
I've
whatever.
definitely seen some good pictures of massive eggs on people's
Right,
eyes.
and people can embellish these injuries all the time and show up to court in the neck thing,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm just surprised somebody hasn't done it. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a whole insurance industry for this kind of thing, right? Where YOLA could have an insurance policy for exactly this. So that takes care of all the cost associated with it.
Oh, there it is. Look at that. Thomas.
Tifosi.
Oh, there it is. I got him this time.
Tifosi is the Italian word for superfan, and that is exactly who they make their eyewear for. Tifosi Optics designs sunglasses that allow you to get out and live your passion. Tifosi Glide technology allows the frame to slide on comfortably and provide an anti-bounce fit with an integrated hinge, ensuring these sunglasses slide on easily without pulling your hair. Crafted from shatterproof polycarbonate, these lenses not...
Let's see, are they shatterproof?
You gotta hit me.
I did.
Thank God I was wearing my Tifosi. These lenses not only reduce glare, but also offer scratch resistance, ensuring unparalleled eye protection. Hydrophilic rubber nose pads that increase grip. The more you sweat, so glasses will stay secure during even the most intense activities. Shop now at TifosiOptics.com and save 20% with code DINK20. That's all caps, DINK20. TifosiOptics.com.
So if you're playing, we talked a little bit about the whether or not it's Bush League to play with a Yola Gen 3. If your opponents are playing Bush League with a Yola Gen 3, you got to wear eye protection. Tifosi, look at that. Thomas?
Tifosi.
Oh, there it is. I got him this time. I hope the camera was on you for that. There we go. Great option,
Tifosi.
Regardless of which paddle you're playing against. Tifosi.
All right, Zane, you're not going to be there, but we have an Austin, Texas event coming up July 13th, alohapickle.com. Come out and compete. Men's, women's, mixed, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. We'll have all sorts of fun stuff. You can win a ton of cool things, including Olokai pickleball shoes and a million other prizes. Alohapickle.com.
Hey, and you get to come talk crap to Thomas in person. We know you love to leave the comments, but now is your chance to come do it in person. He's playing.
I do really want to win my my own tournament. I think lots on the line here.
There's a lot of marketing opportunities if you win your own tournament.
Yeah. And it's brought to you by Olokai, a Hawaiian-inspired lifestyle brand best known for their insanely comfortable sandals, pickleball shoes that are actually for pickleball. The Anau is designed specifically for the pickleball fan with a focus on air breathability, lateral stability, and multi-directional traction, and comfort both on and off the court. They feature a non-marking sole for indoor and outdoor pickleball courts with a design inspired by cauliflower coral. Say that.
Cauliflower coral.
Cauliflower, you say it so weird. It's a coral that is found throughout Hawaii's ocean waters, the more you know. The purchase of every Olokai product gives back to Hawaiian nonprofits. Visit the link in the description to try a pair for yourself.
We got to get Jaume the hookup there. Dude lives in Hawaii.
Yeah, they should sponsor him. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's get like the people's opinion. First of all, what do you think? In amateur and rec play, is it Bush League to use a Yola Gen 3, Vatic Oni, or a Rhombus? Or do you think these people paid money for it, they were legal when they bought them, they should be able to use them?
Personally, I think it probably just depends what you're playing. Like I've taught clinics, and there have been like older ladies who've been using a Diadem Vice paddle, which is the original. Like this is not a paddle that's supposed to be legal, and it's got crazy power. So like, you know, if you're somebody that it really helps, and you're not like going out there to win your league or whatever, like yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. But if you're somebody that's like taking heads off and using the paddle and generating amounts of pace that are like more than what somebody of your level should be capable of, I think that's Bush League, right? So if you're somebody who is overpowering the rest of your group because you've got that piece of equipment, yeah, that's crap. If you're somebody who's using a Yola Gen 3 just to sort of keep up with your group, like that might be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it kind of depends. I think if you're really ever playing to be very competitive, I think you got to put those away at this point. Or have everybody play with them. If that's the game that you guys want to play, get all four of you players to do it. But have people on an even playing field. What are your thoughts?
I would be totally biased, and I would be a hypocrite, and it would be totally situational dependent. Kind of like the chainsaw serve, where like if my partner's doing it and we're getting a bunch of points, I'm like, yeah, it should be legal. As soon as it happens to me, I'm like, this is absolute BS.
I love it. Own that shit.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. But like, so we tweeted out, if a paddle is banned or delisted by USA Pickleball or the Pro Tours, do you think it's fair to use it in rec play or amateur tournaments? I was expecting it to be a little bit more split, but almost everybody who responded was like, no, like it's not fair. So some of the tweets that we got, not sure if fair is the word. Rec players are more dangerous with these paddles. They can't control them. When I play with people I don't know, I always use eye protection. Many new players like to hit the ball as hard as they can. Reckless hits hurt, but with these paddles, it's worse. Speaking of eyewear, get yourself some Tifosi. Another tweet. No, I stopped using my Yola Magnus when they got banned. Will stop using Vatic Oni now that they've been delisted. Don't want people to accuse me of having unfair advantage. It's also hard to readjust to non-Gen 3 paddles for tournaments and league play. Not fair and Bush League, but in
This
rec,
dude got double screwed. He said
Why?
the first guy.
Oh, yeah, he
Hank,
just bought-
He was like, I got my Yola Magnus banned. Now I'm gonna stop using my Vatic Oni because it's banned.
Right.
The dude probably has a gearbox and a rhombus too.
Yeah, that guy's a junkie for sure. Not fair in Bush League, but in rec, I would just silently judge the person playing it and try to bag them without feeling any remorse. I agree with this guy. This is kind of my take.
Bags.
I don't understand why anyone would want to play with one. What's wrong with playing legal? As soon as they announced the YOLO was delisted, it didn't leave my bag until I sent it back for a refund. My guy's virtue signaling. Look at me. Look how honorable I am. My rec players don't care if it's banned or on sale at Walmart. Just hit the ball. I think that's probably how most people are.
Yeah, I mean, what percentage of people do you think are actually like following along with this? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Right. They wouldn't
Maybe
even
they
know.
don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's like if you are using the paddle in a way that is an unreasonable amount of pace, like, yeah, put it away. Like, if you're using it and you're not hitting any harder than the rest of your group, like, that's fine with me. But that's a total judgment call, and I think most people are. That's a total judgment call, and I feel like most people are probably just going to keep using it, regardless of what they say on social media.
Yeah. I've kind of been in this situation before where, like, I start playing, guy clearly has an illegal serve. I'm like, I don't really care. Do what you do. We're going to beat him. And then they start, like, winning points on the serve. And then, like, halfway through the match, I'm like, dude, that's illegal. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. Right?
You try to put up with it at first.
Yeah. I feel like that's how it'll play out. And then this one, I'm not going to tell a person that spent $250 on a paddle that they can't use it in rec play. And I kind of agree with that one too. Like, yeah, you went and just spent a ton of money on a paddle. You're excited to use it. Now it's like, oh, it's banned. I mean, if it's just casual play and you don't have some like rocket forehand that's ruining the game, then whatever.
Yeah, I think you just have to assess whether your pace is dangerous for your group, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, for some people, that's like all they got, right?
This is the power game.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So if you were that person who just has a power game, put your frickin' YOLO away.
Yeah. As a 4-0, maybe 3-5 player, it does make a difference when somebody has a powerful paddle, especially if they come from tennis. It's like, you can be, and I think this is an issue that people see is like, and it's the classic dinkers versus bangers, but just the bangers are on steroids now. You're grinding, you're playing pickleball every week, you're dialing in the fundamentals, you're dinking, you're recognizing the patterns, you're doing everything right. You enter a tournament, and then there's this tennis player who's like pretty much never played before, but they have a rocket forehand and a rocket paddle, and they just keep ripping forehands, and regardless of how good your fundamentals are, ruins a game. They just overpower you. Mm-hmm. So
sucks.
Clip that. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this hot mic situation.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch the clip?
Oh, I did. The clip was epic. Can we play the clip or no?
I'm not gonna put it on.
We're not gonna play the clip.
Well, flagged.
Basically, to summarize, Ben and Anna Lee were playing, and they were playing against James and Anna, and it was super hot outside. And Ben starts talking. They go to the timeout camera, and Ben starts talking about the drive. And I don't know who he was referring to. I don't know whether it was Anna or whether
I assume
it was
he was
James.
talking about Anna because they said she.
Okay. Fair. You can't assume that. But but he said there's just a shitty drive. Like it's like a Tyra drive where it has backspin on it. And then he doubles down and he's like, did Tyra even play tennis? So they're basically just shit-talking Tyra's forehand drive on this hot mic.
Yeah.
And he's just getting absolutely destroyed for it on social media.
Yeah. Well, and in the middle of it, Anna Lee spots the mic, points to it, and they kind of, tame the conversation from there. But at that point,
just stopped the conversation at that point, right?
Well, no, they kind of kept talking, but it got a little bit quieter and it was less critical.
Gotcha. But yeah, love Tyra. I think she's great. The forehand maybe you can work on, but a lot of respect for the rest of that game.
What's your, I mean, what's your take on it? Some people thought like this was the worst thing in the world, and then some people were more like me, where I'm kind of like, who cares? Like, if I'm playing somebody and it's competitive, I'm gonna shit talk their game. It's gonna make me feel better about myself, and you know, we could be friends off the court, but as soon as we step onto the court, I'm shit talking.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of hoping that you would agree with the 95% of commenters online so that I could have somebody to argue against. But my take.
Argue against Johnny Five because he seems to be leading the charge for justice for Tyra.
Yeah, I mean, give me a break. Don't pretend like you had. If you're playing and you're one of those people who's outraged about this, do not pretend like you've never said anything like that about your opponents.
Mm-hmm.
He just happened to be in front of a microphone, like, and he's got a microphone in front of his face all the time. He screwed up. Like, yeah, it was a mistake. Like, but unless you've never said something like that about one of your opponents, shut the hell up. It, like, if you're a saint and you've never talked badly, yeah, you have all the right in the world to criticize Ben. But come on, give me a break. And also, like, what do you want from Ben now? Do you want an apology? Do we want an apology from Ben? Do we want an admission that
People are calling for an apology?
Okay, what is he supposed to say? I'm sorry that I said it. Does that mean then that he doesn't believe that Tyra's drive is bad? Tyra's got an effective drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was at the same time he was calling it shit, he was also calling it effective. He was like, there's not really much that you can do off of it. It's So he did call it effective. If he's issuing an apology, does that mean he's saying, I actually believe Tyra's drive is good? Is he apologizing for getting caught? Like, what does an apology actually accomplish here?
Satisfies the social justice warrior screaming on Twitter.
I guess.
Yeah, if I'm him, and this is probably what he's going to do, I'm just going to pretend it never happened.
Yeah.
You just keep on rolling. And I think that's what'll happen here.
I think Ben should double down and say and issue a statement. Yeah, Tyra's forehand drive is bad.
Yeah. And
I stand by it.
do like a breakdown on his YouTube channel why Tyra's drive is so bad.
So are there any interesting comments on here? I think you and I both agree. I think, if we're going to, I think maybe some of the people online are disappointed because we do hold some of these athletes up on a pedestal, right? People who are newer to the game might like idolize Ben, not really know Ben. You idolize Federer, you idolize Nadal. Everybody's made these type of mistakes, like if they're a real person, but I think Ben is being held to a far different standard than a normal person would do, and that's common across sports. So is this because he's the number one player that we expect more of him?
Yes. I think that's definitely part of it. Yeah. He's supposed to be the face of the sport. But I didn't even think it was that bad.
Yeah.
There were way worse things that could have been caught on that hot mic.
Yep.
So Adam Stone, because Johnny Five again is like mild from Waters, but not Ben. He's not too big to make an apology about it either. Calling a friend out for shitty drives is one thing. Ripping someone in private, whatever. But it wasn't private. It was broadcast. Tyra deserves better. IMO and her management group should be pissed.
Which, to be fair, like her group can be pissed. I'd be pissed. Like I wouldn't enjoy that.
Yeah, I don't know really what the management group has anything to do with this, but Adam Stone responds, yeah, the whole bench mic situation is a different story, but I have said much worse about an opponent to get my partner fired up or make it clear we should continue to target that spot. I am sure much worse has been said about my game as well. I would bet that's the majority of opinions amongst the pros.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, definitely doesn't warrant an apology.
Okay, whether it does or doesn't, what do you think the odds are that Ben or Annalie ever address this?
0.
0? You think it's 0?
Yeah, I think it's so inconsequential that they can just pretend it never happened. If he had said something worse, yeah, he would have to make a statement, but
I think he calls more attention to it if he does make an apology, when people are going to go and
Yeah,
look
right,
and be
exactly.
like, what is he apologizing
It's the
for?
Streisand effect. Yes.
Yeah.
It just creates, it puts more of a spotlight on it.
Yeah. So, Ben, that wasn't nice. But you've played with me before in rec play. You know that the stuff that I say is a lot worse.
Yeah, I just think about like watching basketball, right? These guys say way worse to each other, like to each other, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. I think people are a little too soft on this one.
Some comments. It's
Grow
hard
up.
to hear this from the best woman and man in pickleball. The bigger minds are humble. This is disappointing. So kind of going back to that, well, they're supposed to be these two, number one players, right? And then right below that, people talk mad shit all the time. Who cares? Which is kind of where I'm at on
Right.
this.
I'm definitely at the, like, it would be great if the number one male and the number one female were literally just saints sent from God to come play pickleball for us. But I'm guessing that's not the case.
Yes. And this is just one of many hot mic moments we've had recently. There have been some very, very entertaining ones. That announcer, who she actually, I think, ended up apologizing, which was good. Definitely shouldn't have been on the mic. We talked a little bit about that. There was the Major League Pickleball.
Yeah, rewind on that one. That was the in Arizona where it was.
Yeah. Is that her name?
Yes.
Bleep that out. She doesn't need her name on here.
All right. Well, where she was, she said some off the cuff stuff about like the size of some women and pregnancy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And also she didn't know half of the players. So it was wild.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really like a hot mic situation.
That was right on the, yeah.
She knew
Right.
she was being recorded. So I feel like that's in a different category.
Yeah. There was the Major League Pickleball kerfuffle in which Spencer Smith's girlfriend got into the mix, and Spencer Smith ended up hitting the deck, or he was like pushed into the chairs, and then on the hot mic it was, "Get your trash girlfriend out of here," which is great.
That's
But
brutal.
not okay.
Who said,
Please apologize.
Who said that? Who said "Get your trash girlfriend out of
I
here"?
do not remember, but it was hilarious to me. And then, did you see the Rafa Hewitt one recently?
Yeah, at MLP, something
We
about.
won't talk about what was said, but it was him, and I don't know who was on a mic with him, but they were just going back and forth for like over a minute, just making some sexual innuendos and some pretty funny jokes. That one was like very quickly, it was posted and then very quickly taken down. And it seemed like they really wanted to bury that one.
That one, there was some reference to a lollipop, I believe.
yeah, there was.
I don't think I ever saw the full clip. Was it pretty funny?
Yeah, because I saw an initial clip, which was like 30 seconds or something, but there was like multiple minutes of it before they realized how does somebody not like send a text, or like we did our Super Bowl event in Vegas, and I was in Florida, so my team was running it, and we had the broadcast going, and I'm watching from Florida, and as soon as there was like some weird audio thing, I texted, and it was taken care of like within 30 seconds, right? So I just don't get how these things happen. I mean, the announcer, right? There should have been text being exchanged in that moment, like get her off the mic, right?
Yeah.
But she went through the whole match. The Spencer Smith thing, that's sort of like it happened so quickly, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. The Ben Johns Hannah Lee situation, like they didn't even realize a mic was there, and as soon as they pointed it out, it was done.
Do you think they should actually just have a sideline announcer come talk to him for 30 seconds during a timeout? Because then they at least know that, like, with certainty that they're on.
Yeah.
That they're mic'd up.
Or
like,
just, like-
in the NBA, like if you're watching the NBA finals, how often are you actually? I can't think of a time where I'm actually picking up any of the audio from the players, because
Yeah.
if you did, that would be a disaster. Like the
Right.
stuff that they're saying out there is having sat front row at a game, at a Magic game because of the squeeze last year. The stuff that these guys are saying to each other cannot be aired on television.
Yeah, right. It's usually, I feel like it's usually during like action right at the basket. And I think like the hoop mic picks it up, or if a ref is in the vicinity with the mic right here, I think it picks it up. And then there's people with cell phones, and it's usually like cell phone videos that.
Right, the cell phone videos from people front row are gonna pick that up.
Yeah. But like, how is it not abundantly clear to Ben and Annalie that there was going to be a mic on the bench? Maybe they just forgot.
I don't know. It's been a thing somewhat recently, sometimes, and it hasn't been consistent enough. They've been cutting to the strategy talks on timeouts for a few tournaments now, but it seems like it's very few and far between.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody's used to it regularly.
Right.
I think they should be given a heads up, like, hey, we're cutting to you on your strategy talk in 30 seconds here. Just somebody tell them.
Right. Well, I think they did notice in the moment on that one. And
they did.
Dave Fleming comes in and like starts talking over it and being like, yeah, we're, basically tries to divert the conversation. But too little, too late. Generally, I think we should be miking up players more. I think we should be playing into Ben talking trash about Tyra. I think the off-court stuff. If I were the PPA, I would make a shadow media company, and it would just cover the drama of the sport, on-court and off-court.
How do you know that Odoth isn't just a PPA shill?
He could be. But the problem is, like, Odoth put that clip out there, and, there's just not that many people see it, So, like, we saw it, and we saw all the comments because we're in the world. Mm-hmm. But most people have no idea this even happened, right? But, yeah, we should be playing up this drama. There are so many storylines that would make for a phenomenal reality TV show and would make me want to tune in for certain matches, right?
Yeah, we need some more rivalries.
Yes. As soon as Riley and Matt played each other again after splitting up, it was like everybody wanted to watch that match. And there's all sorts of moments like that across pickleball. We should lean into them. Mm-hmm. It creates that drama. It creates the narratives, right? Everybody's talking about Kyrie in Boston right now for the finals, right? And that's a whole like side plot that makes people want to tune in, right? It's a storyline. Mm-hmm. We have very few of those in pickleball.
I'm with you. We need like an investigative journalist to come in and start just like, not on me, obviously, but just start investigating some stuff. And
well, remember like Tyler Loong spun up that blog, pickleballrumors.com, and started
vaguely.
Yeah, and publishing stuff. Not that he was like doing it under a pseudonym, like his name was on the stuff. I think Jimmy was writing some stuff there. But, it can't be Tyler. It can't be a pro. Mm-hmm. There was a blog, I think it was called Pickleheads. There's an app, Pickleheads, but I think there was a blog before that was there. And they would lean into the drama so hard. This was like 2.5 years ago.
Really?
And they came from a journalism background. Like it was a couple running it, and the woman is like, she goes on Fox News. She's like a political commentator. She's very controversial. And like, I think she was at one point, like if you read her Wikipedia, it's like she's an alt-right MAGA extremist, nationalist, like, and she got like canceled or whatever, right? But they were, they came from a world where they're covering way bigger drama than pickleball, and they were not afraid to lean into this stuff. I think they stopped publishing, but for a little bit there was all these like side storylines that were.
Wow, I do not remember this.
Yeah, I think it was just like a very small blog that they ended up shutting down or whatever. But yeah, we need more of that.
Agreed. I'm with you.
Because, listen to this segue, I think it'll help viewership.
Good segue.
And so we published an article. The PPA Texas Open aired on Fox Sports Sunday afternoon, and inquiring minds want to know how many people watched. On Championship Sunday, the mixed doubles and women's doubles finals were on Fox Sports. It ran the broadcast on its national channel, choosing to instead show the NASCAR in Illinois 300 on FS1. So I think NASCAR was supposed to come on, and for whatever reason, they actually said, nope, NASCAR goes to FS1, we're going to keep airing pickleball. So whether that was some sort of like scheduling thing, or they actually saw the numbers and were happy with them, and they were like, let's keep airing this. I'm not quite sure. But I think they were, or maybe they were supposed to switch over to a regular, like an MLS game. I'm not sure, but like Connor Pardo tweeted that they ran it for an additional 45 minutes beyond what was scheduled, seemingly because it was doing well. Who knows? Could have been just a scheduling thing.
Well, where is it on this viewership table? The Sunday, June 2nd sports rating.
Yeah, I couldn't even find it on this table, but somebody did. And the main takeaways are PPA Texas Open had more viewers on Sunday than 5 out of 6 French Open fourth-round matches, the U.S. Women's Open final round for golf, and 2 regionally broadcast MLB baseball games. So I think that's good. It's not like, we're going to beat the drum that pickleball is here to stay. And, beating 5 out of 6 French Opens isn't that crazy because usually they have like one marquee match that everybody tunes into, and they're not going to tune into the other 5, right?
Sure.
So that's not super surprising.
Oh, well, it's getting there. I like it. It's good to see.
Moving in the right direction.
I think so. I think the more we put it out there, the better. And then I think people will point out what they do and they don't like about pickleball. I was watching the French Open final between Alcaraz and Zverev, and Johnny Mack and I think it was Mary Carrillo were talking about pickleball for a little while and how they set up pickleball courts over at the French Open. Shout out to Jay DeVilliers who went over there and played. So I think that probably made some people ask, like, what is pickleball? Like, where can we find some of this? Like, okay, if they set it up here at the French Open, it's probably legit. So more airtime, I think that's good.
Yep. Another professional podcast segue here. Viewership is great, but you need to monetize it at the end of the day. So this is a more interesting story to me. I don't think many people talked about it. We published it. We put it in the newsletter. But UPA went and hired a new chief revenue officer, George Killebrew. And he was the CRO at the Dallas Mavericks and was former commissioner of Major League Rugby. And he was consulting for the PPA Tour, but now he's come on full-time to lead revenue. So for me, that seems like a pretty big move, having somebody like that at the helm who's been there, done that with, an NBA team and then, something more niche like a Major League Rugby.
Right. So he's been, the Mavericks are known as one of the teams that really turned things around and have a very nice valuation after a few years of Mark Cuban. So I'm sure George Killebrew had a big part of that as well. It's exciting. I think it's good to get the more qualified people we can get actually spending time on this stuff, the better. Right? When we have all of these celebrities coming in, that's great, but how much time are they actually spending on this? Like, you have all of these billionaires and whatnot, but it's a side project and nobody's actually investing full time. When we can get people who are very highly qualified that are actually focused on this, I think that's worth more than some of these billionaires that were a good headline,
Right.
but have maybe spent 5-10 hours total thinking about this stuff.
Yeah. And it was good PR, right?
Yeah, it certainly was good
Made
PR.
a splash, got people talking.
It legitimized the sport.
Lends credibility to it, right? But that kind of ran its course. So, yeah.
All right. Should we segue to MLP next week?
Sure. Are you excited?
I am. I'm not playing, so I'm excited to watch.
You're not playing?
No. Our team is off.
Right, okay.
There's a handful of teams that aren't playing this week.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that, by the way? What do you think? Like, do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Like,
I think it devalues it. The first one this year, like, Ben's team wasn't there.
Right.
Not
It was
great.
only 2 teams that weren't there from the premier side.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think it devalues the product. You need your best players there. You need all the teams there. I do think in the past, Major League Pickleball did a great job of making people care about who is going to win each Major League Pickleball event. Now we're sort of spreading it out. Some teams aren't there, and the importance is less. So, I don't know. I think we talk a lot about building up the importance of each individual event for the sake of viewership and making people want to tune in. I think this is the opposite of that.
Yeah, it's it's strange to only have a couple of teams sitting out.
Well, I think it's all
I'd be-
based on this point system now, right?
Well, it is. This is basically a regular season event.
Right.
I'd be curious to know from MLP side, like why? Why are a couple of teams sitting out every time? Maybe it's just some sort of substantial cost savings. But we notice the downside of it. What are they seeing on the back end that made them decide, okay, we're gonna have two teams sit out in
Right.
Atlanta? So
Yeah.
I don't know, but I saw the Seattle Pioneers did a rebrand, and they are now the Carolina Pickleball Club.
Yep.
I think that's good. I think if we're talking about billionaires being interested and invested in these sports, it's nice to see Dundon's team like actually start to have an identity. He obviously owns the Carolina hockey team. What is the Carolina hockey team?
Hurricanes.
The Hurricanes. Yeah, I mean, I think that's phenomenal. It's a good spot for a team. Pickleball in North Carolina and South Carolina is booming. There are NFL teams that are branded as the Carolina Panthers. I think that's great. Ben went to a Hurricanes game. Let's go.
Yeah, he did a while ago, but basically I just think Seattle Pioneers were one of I think it was the last Major League Pickleball team to make an Instagram. They just
Do they have one now?
they just didn't care about that team for a while. So to see the team with Ben on it, right? Seemingly make some moves toward legitimizing the team and building a brand. I think that's a good thing. Hopefully they'll be able to figure out ways to tie them in. I mean, Dundon obviously owns the Hurricanes. I'm sure they'll figure out some cool ways to activate and exchange audience and help build the Carolina Pickleball Club's brand in Carolina.
I had to say, I went to an Orlando Solar Bears game, a minor league hockey team that's also owned by the family that owns the Squeeze. Those games, pickleball has something to learn from that. Minor league hockey games are selling out.
Rowdy.
They're rowdy. There were 7 or 8 fights at this game, and it was just a regular season Thursday night minor league hockey game.
Right.
These boys were out there getting after it.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting to draw the contrast between that and then the NHL finals right now, the Florida Panthers versus Edmonton Oilers. I think it was a game last night or 2 nights ago where they didn't even fill the stadium for a Stanley Cup Finals.
Was it in
game.
Florida?
Yeah.
Huh. It's bizarre, right? Because the Solar Bears they didn't have the upper deck open, but still it's probably without the upper deck it's probably 8,000 people that they pretty much filled for this arena. I mean, I went to the minor league hockey game here in Austin. The Dallas was playing against Milwaukee, or it was the Dallas minor league team was playing against the Milwaukee Admirals, and they had the HEB Center pretty packed. And they can't fill it up in Florida. I guess that is a brand new team, though, too, right?
The Florida Panthers? No.
Aren't
they've been
they?
around for forever.
Really? I thought they were a pretty new team.
Mm-mm.
Were they not an expansion team?
I mean, maybe back when they expanded from the original 8. No, I think they've been around for forever. Maybe they relocated. I don't know. But, I mean, listen, it's going to be tough to get Florida hockey fans in Florida. It's just not,
But the Solar Bears did it. They got 10K people.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yeah, you're right. They've been around since they won a conference championship in 1995.
That's right.
I had never heard of them.
You don't remember that one?
I was born that year. That was the year of my birth. And I didn't even remember that they're conference champion.
What else we got? Okay, so
And they're up 2-0.
Lotto Sport. Yeah, right. Which we're not going to go down the hockey path. Anyway, Lotto Sports joins the Kevin Durant crew, which also is Drake and Michael B. Jordan, which is always funny to me, as co-owners of the Brooklyn Aces. So they're the first I don't know, international apparel brand to kind of take an ownership stake. And then with that, Pablo was using a Lotto paddle in Sacramento.
I saw that. He did his like little photo shoot thing with the PPA with a Lotto paddle.
Yeah.
A couple weeks
Is he
ago.
not? Is he done with Selkirk? Is
It
Lotto
must be.
coming in with paddles,
It
or is
must
it
be.
more of like a promotional thing?
You heard it here first. Maybe it was just a promo thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but Selkirk's going hard into their apparel, so I don't think they'd want to do some sort of like collab with Lotto. So who knows? Maybe Lotto's coming in hot to pickleball.
It seems like it. They've dabbled for a while. Well, they sponsor now. They sponsor somebody else. don't
Deckel
they?
for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still the case.
They've kind of been like around and dabbling for a while. it seems
Yeah.
like.
But I'll have to. I think this is okay to say. So the Lotto previously was kind of like how Adidas is licensed. It's not actually Adidas in pickleball. Same thing was happening with Lotto, and it was actually Fromouth Pickleball, which is my uncle.
Yeah.
And so they were the licensed distributor for the U.S. and they were looking at building the brand, and so they sponsored Deckel, and they were selling.
Had
more,
AJ
like-
for a little while too, right?
He was Fromouth sponsored,
Oh, okay.
and then Deckel was Lotto. But I think this is like Lotto, the actual Lotto parent company that's doing this now. I have to check. I should know that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, okay. So we got some Lotto investment. In terms of MLP play, the most interesting thing heading into it is obviously like Ben's team playing for the first time. Ben, Collin, Coop, and Jesse. So, what do you think of that team? First opportunity to
They're
see
gonna
them.
win.
You think they're gonna win?
Yeah.
Do you think that? Do you think that still after Ben and Collin's struggles? Because they're no longer, when they picked Ben and Collin together, they were like, all right, lock it in. That's a men's doubles win. Is that still a men's doubles lock?
No. I mean, so I think it's all going to depend on matchup, but I think it's still one of the best, if not the best, men's doubles team in Major League Pickleball. So, high percentage chance that it'll be a win.
So now we have to ask, are Ben and Collin still the number one doubles team?
Who do you think it would be?
That's not what I asked.
Yeah, in aggregate, yes, but they're much less. You got that guy.
I just killed that little bug.
Yeah, Pete is gonna come after us. They are still the best team, but as we talked about, much less likely to win each individual tournament. That's the only thing that's changed.
Yeah. It seems like they are the most likely team to win a tournament. They have random losses. J-Dub and Dylan don't seem to have the random losses anymore. They seem to be getting to that final regardless. And most of the time, well, they were on a 3-tournament win streak until they lost to Federico and Hayden this week and actually kind of got spanked by him. But it seems like J-Dub and Dylan are the most consistent team in pickleball right now. They're pretty much going to get to that final. I think when Ben and Collin are on or like playing well or get to that final, they're going to win.
Who would you rather see in a draw?
Who would I rather see?
Which
in a
one
draw?
are you more likely to be like, oh, damn it, when you see?
If I'm playing, I would rather see Ben and Collin in a draw because I know there's a possibility that we get them not at their best. Like J-Dub and Dylan are just so consistent. They don't seem to lose to teams that they shouldn't. Ben and Collin seem to lose to teams that they shouldn't sometimes. And now, who was it? It was Tardio and who did they lose to this weekend?
Who? J-Dub and Dylan?
No. Ben and Jimmy lost to who did they lose to?
Yeah, but it was Ben and Jimmy. Do you think they would have done better?
Ben and Jimmy versus. I think Collin is probably a better fit for the team to team with Ben than James is. James doesn't really like to grind forehand dinks on that side. I think James is a better player than Collin. I think that he doesn't fit into that partnership quite as well, because James is like, he is a left side player, and I think he'd be the first to admit, like, yeah, I want to roll my backhand cross court and create from the left, and he's also kind of better at being the alpha on a team. So it was a tough role for James to play.
Whatever happened to that fun Alshon Ignatowich beef we had? Remember, they were always going back and forth, and then seemingly it was just like James is not going to engage anymore.
Yeah, that was fun for a while.
And then, well, so Christian, so kind of making a little bit of a comeback here. I was trying to figure out like what was happening in this exchange, but Christian Alshon tweets, "Men's doubles is the most entertaining pickleball event to watch." And James goes, "Not surprised by your preference for men. I like women's instead." And then Anna goes, "Easy to say when Gabe is playing and getting touches. Can't say the same for the rest of you." It seems like to be some sort of underlying messaging going on there, but I couldn't really pick up on it.
I don't know. I think they're just all trying to dunk on each other on Twitter.
Yeah, as they should. That's what we need. That's what I like to see.
Oh, it was Gabe and Riley Newman beat Ben and James. That was driving me crazy.
Yeah.
They then lost to Fed and Hayden. So going back to it, I would rather see Ben and Collin than J-Dub and Dylan. I think J-Dub and Dylan are the most consistent team in pickleball. But they lose to Big H and Fed. I didn't really see that coming. Sun River Resort is a 4-diamond resort 20 minutes from Bend, Oregon, which I heard really good things about Bend, Oregon, that tournament out there. Anyway, I heard great things about Bend, Oregon. This 33-acre resort is the Pacific Northwest treasured outpost.
3,300 acre.
What did I say?
33.
3,300-acre resort is the Pacific Northwest's treasured outpost for destination and recreation. It's the largest resort pickleball complex in the PNW, with 18 brand new pickleball courts ready for play, 8 indoor and 10 outdoor. Other amenities at the resort include 11 plus on-site restaurants, full-service relaxation spa, year-round pool complex. So find your perfect way to stay from resort rooms to vacation homes. Thomas, we got to have a talk. How on earth are you going to read an ad or have me read an ad for Sun River Resort when, how are they not going to fly us out there?
They have to. They should.
I think they have to.
This
I mean, imagine the opportunities.
Yeah, this is the call to action.
I want to check this place out. So you can use the link in the description to book your stay and Dink Pickleball package at Sun River Resort. What is the Dink Pickleball package? Do you know?
You can find out by following the link.
Perfect. There we go. Wow. I want to check this place out. I've actually wanted to go up to Bend, Oregon for some time. I've missed that tournament every year, but I've heard really good things about it. And Sun River sounds absolutely sick. Fed and Big H. What do you think of that? First-time partnership.
I like them a lot, and I like anything that gets Big H on the big stage more.
Mm-hmm. Big H is somebody who has never really had a top-tier partner.
Yeah,
right?
people will be like, yeah, I think Matty Pickles referred to him as an up-and-comer, and I'm like, I don't know. He's been up and coming gradually for like forever, kind of like a Tardio.
Yeah,
he's been around for forever. Like I've played against Hayden before, and he has definitely gotten significantly better since then. But it's been this gradual. It's not like he's new, big name, and he's obviously been very successful in Major League Pickleball.
You know what's interesting? Now that you mention that. The couple of cases of players that we have that didn't come from a big tennis background and are young are Dylan, Tardio, and Hayden. And actually Georgia to an extent as well. And those players, none of them really had like a huge immediate and meteoric rise.
Right.
Like Dylan literally worked his way up from a 3-5 player. And then Gabe has been getting steadily better for a long time, and so is Big H. I wonder if that, sort of breakthrough is going to be kind of a thing of the past as people start their careers actually playing pickleball rather than like, okay, I'm a tennis player. I started playing pickleball. All of a sudden something clicks and and I get way better overnight.
Right.
I don't know. What do you think about that?
I was kind of having this conversation recently. I do still think more than any other sport, you have the opportunity to break in and move up the rankings very quickly.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that.
And I think the more we have like hot paddles and crazy tech, the more likely it is that a high-level tennis player is going to be able to come in and make waves right away. But one of the interesting things about Ben's hot mic was that he was like, part of his chirping was, "Did you even play tennis?" As if that was, some sort of insult, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, like,
you know what I mean?
The idea was that if you were a tennis player, you should have a good forehand drive.
Yeah, right. Okay, I guess. So it's not, yeah. All right. Good point, Thomas. Yeah, I mean, I think singles, it's still much easier to do it. Doubles, I think, as I've said in the past, like the major barrier to entry is, are you able to train with high-level pros?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that, it's going to be very difficult for you to ascend beyond like top 50. So I think you can still like break in and start playing on the pro tours, but until you get a good partner and you start training with high-level pros, you're always going to have this ceiling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's why you see more and more people just moving to these hotspots. Like, you can't really be super competitive if you aren't getting those looks, or at least like staying at tournaments for extra time, something like that.
If somebody today were to say, "I'm going to do everything I can to go pro. I'm going to pursue it full time. I'm starting from college tennis," where should they move to give themselves the best chance to ascend into the top of pro pickleball?
I'd say you're either looking at Southeast Florida, like that sort of Boca area. I think that spot is probably the most attractive to those ex-college tennis players, just because that's what a lot of those people are over there already. Like James and Anna, and they're working with Christian. They all sort of came from that world, and that's where a lot of these ex-tennis players sort of already are familiar with. I think Austin's a great spot for it.
Yeah,
too.
Sure.
But Austin doesn't have as much of that crew. Like, I know for a fact there are a bunch of ex-college tennis players that are like grinding over in Southeast Florida.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of very good, like, kind of already established pro players here in Austin. There aren't as many of those players that are like grinding to get there here in Austin.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think it used to be you go to the Naples area.
Mm-hmm. Naples has fallen off a little bit, but still a very good spot.
Yep.
I mean,
try and get under the Simone coaching tree.
Mm-hmm.
And then
now you have to go to Nashville for that. She moved, or she's moving.
Right. I saw that. Wichita. Remember?
Wichita had just had that little epic crew of Pat, Jay, Matt, and Lucy.
Mm-hmm. But beyond that, I mean, like if I think of Phoenix, for example, they have like, I think they have like a density of good players, but no like true breakout high level, Right.
Augie's the one. Like, Riley, actually, I think Riley's going back there. I think Riley lives there again now.
He's had enough of Dallas?
I think he
should have come to Austin.
I think he bought a house in Arizona, if I remember correctly, or was about to. So, yeah, Arizona has always had like a ton of very good players, but not a ton that are like at the highest level, with the exception of Riley, and now Augie as well.
Right.
So what do you think of Ignatowich called for a fault because his sticker came off?
Gotta stand by the rules. Rules are the rules.
I would have argued that to no end on that center court. I'm like, this isn't a part of my equipment. This is something that the tournament made me put on, and they put it on. I had nothing to do with this piece of plastic. I would have grandstanded out there for a long time. The rule is the rule. But it's not something that James even wants on his paddle.
Right.
Right? Why is he responsible for it? The thing that if comes off that was improperly put on by UPA or UPAA or whatever the hell. So for people who don't know what I'm talking about, basically Ignatowich hit an overhead, and the sticker that the PPA uses to certify that this paddle has been tested came off and fell in the kitchen, and they got a fault for it. I would have been livid. I'm like, that's not a piece of my equipment. I had never wanted that thing on there to begin with. But the referees made the correct call.
Yep.
I would have called Connor in here and be like, fix it. You guys made me put this on my paddle.
Right. Yeah.
And also in like 100 degrees, which is super hot, like the things probably just melted off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if somebody's hat falls into the kitchen, you would agree with that violation.
100%.
Yeah.
They
So
chose to put the hat on.
Right. You think it's more so the fact that it was like a mandated sticker.
A mandated sticker that's out of the player's control.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is
sticker seems like an odd thing to use anyway. Like it should be some sort of Sharpie or like, I don't know. I guess it has to be something that you can't like fake, you know?
Right. Right, that's the thing. So the stickers have serial numbers on them, so they know, and every day they're looking for different serial numbers, so that's how they keep it on track.
I just talked to somebody who runs a company that will be the perfect solution for this.
Yeah?
I might make $1 billion based on this conversation.
Maybe $1 billion. Let's see.
What?
$1 billion
where are you
Venezuelan dollars.
Yeah. That could be good.
Probably not.
Yeah, so I think, you gotta, she was right to make that call, and then Don Stanley upheld it. If you were the opponent saying you gotta call that, that's Bush League.
I agree. If I was the opponents, I would like to think that I would have given that back to them.
Right.
I think I am generally a pretty fair player out there, and I probably would not have. I don't know who they were playing. I like to think that I wouldn't have taken that point. Who knows? If I was already pissed off or something, I probably would have taken the point and be like, yeah, piece of your equipment. F you, James. But if it was a non-contentious match, I feel like I probably would have given that to them. Who are they playing? Tyra and somebody.
How about this? If you have a hat on,
Oh boy.
Let's see, how would this work? You're outside of the kitchen, your partner has a foot in the kitchen, takes a ball out of the air. At the same time, you two collide. You have a hat on, you're out of the kitchen. You collide while they take the ball. Your hat falls off into the kitchen.
Yeah, that would be the 2 becomes 1 argument from the foot faults back in Dallas. Like, if at the point that we made contact together, you were in the kitchen, we are now one thing, and the hat falls off at that time, that would be a fault.
Okay, wasn't as much of a brain twister as I wanted that one to be. I was like, how about this one?
Well, it was interesting back in Dallas because Andrew didn't really know that rule.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just wanted to argue. I don't know. But let's see.
Are you happy that it's win on your serve again?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I am, at least from a viewership perspective.
Yeah.
I think we can always make the change back to just pure rally scoring, win by 2. I think this is really good for making the matches competitive at the time. And Real Clear Stats ran they asked their audience, like, what do you guys like best? The viewers, like, overwhelmingly said, we like win on your serve. I think it was something like 60+% chose that of the 3 options. I don't remember what the other 2 options were. But, like, that's what people like. Mm-hmm. And we're back.
So Major League Pickleball published some rule changes, that being one of them. The other was some clarification on the serve rule, which we can talk about. But I saw one tweet that was like, why are you constantly changing the rules. Why, like, pickleball is pickleball. Stop changing the rules and messing with it. And my thought is opposite.
Yeah.
Continue to experiment until you find the right formula.
Yeah. The pro stuff, I would say people are optimistic about, but hasn't clicked yet. How do we make this game more viewer friendly? And I think that's a horrible argument when you have other sports. Every other sport continues to adapt, whether it's basketball, whether it's the oldest sports in the world, like soccer, or baseball is an old sport. Like, these sports constantly improve themselves, right? If you can make an improvement to baseball, you can't tell me that pickleball is perfect right now.
Agreed. We should wrap there.
Done. Hey, the only thing I had to say was we actually did get another Stop Alzheimer's Now donation. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to somebody who chose to remain anonymous. They gave a nice $1,000 to Stop Alzheimer's Now. So that's still, even though we're not cussing for a cure anymore, still very much appreciated. And this person had a family who's affected by Alzheimer's. So again, if you're somebody who is sympathetic to the Alzheimer's cause, give Stop Alzheimer's Now look them up. 100% of what you give goes directly to research. And I actually know that Sean went over to Kansas to have some interesting conversations with a professor over there who's working on cure research. So it's an unbelievable cause, and thank you to this person who decided to remain anonymous. So
wait, did you know that my final project for graduation was a report, or like a presentation on Stop Alzheimer's Now?
I didn't.
So like, me and 3 classmates met with them on like a weekly basis, helped them figure out like how they're going to market and stuff like that. And I kind of learned more about it, which is they essentially are a venture fund for research at universities mostly, because there's a gap in like funding to experiment with an idea before you get that big tranche of funding, once you kind of have a proof of concept, to take it to the next level. So what they do is essentially fund these smaller research programs in hopes that that allows them to get their whatever it is to a place where they can then go get real funding to take the next step. So if anybody was wondering.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool because they are doing the ground floor, high risk, high reward, shoot your shot type of funding. So pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's like venture capital. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Picklepod.
Picklepod, love it. Bye bye.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, rather had fun,